The undiscerning people who rejoice in the letter of the Scriptures, who contend that there is nothing else, whose nature is driven by desire, and who are intent upon heaven, somewhere other than here, that's heaven, somewhere other than here, proclaim flowery words that result in birth as the fruit of actions. So I bolded letter of the Scriptures here. The undiscerning people who rejoice in the letter of the Scriptures, who contend that there is nothing else, whose nature is driven by desire, and who are intent upon heaven. What that means is, I told you I read 3 or 4 books. I don't read these books and say, by reading these books and following them literally, that's going to do it for me. So you're not following the letter of the Scriptures. You are reading the Scriptures and you are applying it to your life. That's the only way that they will transform you. By applying what you read to your life, by trying them out. So they prescribe various rituals for the attainment of enjoyment and power. And of those whose minds are enchanted by these words, because of their craving for enjoyment and power, intellectual ability is flawed and meditative insight is not possible. So when you become enchanted with the words themselves, what are you doing? You're caught up in the thinking mind. And what is the very thing that you're trying to learn that you are not? The thinking mind. The Scriptures, the texts are instruction. When you read Autobiography of a Yogi, it's beautiful, it's great, it's inspiring. But it's not there just as entertainment. It's there for you to read about. Okay, when I read about the Tiger Swami, and he talks about how when he was younger, he had a sickly body, and that through the power of his thoughts, by changing his thoughts, he became strong. That is the instruction there. It's not about how great this guy was at beating up tigers, or that he did this through yogic means. It's the message that by his willpower and by changing his thoughts, he changed his life. That is what it means to get underneath of the Scriptures, underneath of the texts. Here we get to the essence, or what's considered the essence of yoga practice from the Bhagavad Gita. You, the yogi. So you are all yogis now, all right? You got that? You're all yogis. You have the right to actions only, not to the results of actions. Let not the result of actions be your motive, neither let there be any attachment to inaction. Did you hear that? Neither let there be any attachment to inaction. So when you have something to do it. Don't think you have to sit in meditation forever. Firmly established in self-realization, do the work at hand, giving up attachment to it. Be even-minded in both success and failure, for truly mental poise is yoga. Those who work for results alone are to be pitied. One who has realized the true self abandons both the good and the ungood. Therefore aspire to the yoga of self-knowledge. Skillful action is yoga. Now, key points here. So firmly established in self-realization, do the work at hand, giving up attachment to it. Be even-minded in both success and failure, for truly mental poise is yoga. So this came home to me one time when I was meeting with Roy. And he was talking about just nature. I guess he was watching something on the Nature Channel. He said, isn't it amazing that in nature, like fish lay millions of eggs and only a few of them live, and trees give off all of these seeds, and plants, but only a few of them actually make it. So think about it. In nature, imagine if these plants decided, well, some of my seeds might get eaten by the crows, so I'm just not even going to try. Or if some of these fish said, well, not all of my babies are going to make it, so I'm just not even going to worry about it. What would happen to the order of life? And that's why doing your duty without attachment to the results is so important, because you try and you do and you meditate and you work, and it's not always going to work out. Every time you sit to meditate, you're not going to have cosmic experiences, and every time you try to accomplish something in life, there will be failure. But out of those 10 times, at least once it's going to work, right? And that one time is worth all the effort. So that is the action that you have entitlement towards. What's that guy, the guy's name? Robert Kiyosaki. He said, one out of every 10 businesses will make it. 1 out of every 10 businesses will make it. So other people would say, well, that's kind of a low odds, so I'm not going to try. What did he say? I'm going to try 10 times. All right?
Oh, I like that.
Because at least once it's going to work. All right? So that is a very real and practical way. Don't worry about whether it's going to work or not. Just do it. That's it. Just do it. Treating life like music. When you're listening to a song, are you listening to it to get to the end? No. Are you listening to a song to, achieve something? No. Why do you listen to music? Why do you listen to music?
For enjoyment.
For enjoyment.
Good feeling.
Okay. Why are you alive? Enjoyment. Right. And even the negative aspect of things. I've said this before too. How many of you would go see a movie where there was no bad guy? Well, okay. All right. How many of you would go to a drama where there was no struggle involved? So it's not about not having struggle. It's about participating. It's about showing up, and it's about participating. That's what this is about. You can do it here. You can do it elsewhere. You can do it in the astral realms. You can do it in the causal realms. Because the most liberating and the most depressing thing I ever experienced was the realization, well, two realizations. One, that this is it. That this is it. There's nothing else. Well, that's the other one. There's nothing else. And the second one was that there is no end to it. There is no end to it. No end to it. You are eternal and infinite. How can you be eternal and infinite if there is an end? Yoga practice is not about coming to an end. It's about learning what you are. So that way, while you're in it, the eternity, you can be like the boat on top of the water rather than the person drowning. You're paddling, you're having a good time. You are above it all, but you're still on it. That is what happens as you wake up. Skillful action is yoga. The wise who have actualized enlightenment, who have renounced the results of actions and are free from compulsion to be reborn, are beyond sorrow because established in soul bliss. Now, when one has put away the desires of the mind and is content in self-knowledge, such a one is said to be established in self-wisdom. When one has put away the desires of the mind and is content in self-knowledge, such a one is said to be established in wisdom. This is why when you meditate, you're not doing it for any reason. You're not trying to fight your mind. You're not trying to experience a state which you are not already in. Because if you have a concept that enlightenment will be thus and so, you'll always be happy, everything will be perfect. If you have that concept, you're chasing a dream. So don't chase a dream. Ask yourself, what is it like to be me, the self, the real you, not little you, but the big you. And simply sit and watch and wait and see what comes up. It may be that what comes up is you just sitting there. And that's pretty amazing in itself when you can just simply sit there. So don't project, don't have any ideas of what you think enlightenment is supposed to be like, because you will chase a dream, you will never get there. One whose mind is untroubled, one whose mind is untroubled in the midst of misfortune, and is free from craving in the midst of pleasurable circumstances, from whom passion, fear, and anger have departed, and whose meditative concentration is steady, is said to be a sage, to be wise. And here's the other one that people have a hard time with. Maybe you would too. Think about it. That one who is without sentimental attachment, who does not rejoice because of pleasant circumstances or feel aversion toward that which is unpleasant, is firmly established in understanding. And this may be the very reason why our Kriya Satsangs currently are not packed like very stimulating churches in other parts of the U.S. Because what it's teaching here is that one who is without sentimental attachments, who does not rejoice because of pleasant circumstances or feel aversion toward that which is unpleasant, is firmly established in understanding. When you think of someone like that, just right now, off the top of your head, what would you say about them? Other than the fact you know they're wise right now. But if you were just, meeting someone off the street, oftentimes the result when people hear this is, well, then you wouldn't be human. Well, I have to have attachment to my family. I have to have attachment to the place I was born. I have to support this sense of self. Well, go ahead and keep it up. But it's not going to take you where you want to be.